Now, NATO's European partners are worried what a new Donald Trump presidency will mean for the alliance. The former and the future US president has long made his criticism clear. But would they pull out of the alliance altogether? Let's take a look at this ground report.
A fleet of US warships, a potent symbol of American military power. Whether at sea, in the air or on land, for the last 75 years, NATO allies have been able to count on full US support. But what if those days are over? Jamie Shea, a former NATO official, is rather pessimistic.
If the leader of the alliance and the key provider of that kind of order and infrastructure drops out, that is a totally different kettle of fish. And I think it would be very difficult for NATO to survive without the United States. It could limp on for a period of time, but no doubt a new structure would need to be created.
It seems unlikely Donald Trump would pull out from the alliance altogether. After all, he would need the US Congress to sign off on such a decision. But during his first term in the White House, Trump didn't hide his scorn for NATO, and experts say there are many ways in which he could weaken it. He could start pulling US troops out of Europe or stop providing equipment that is needed there.
Think about command and control functions. Think about satellite imagery. Think about strategic airlifting. These are all things where Europe really depends on America still, and that will be a problem.
Critics say Europeans have become complacent, relying on US protection. But in the last few years, they actually have stepped up their game. With 23 out of 32 NATO members now spending at least 2% of their GDP on defense. Europe is also ramping up its arms and ammunition production, but its defense industry is still very much fragmented. Whereas the United States provides its troops with a largely unified set of equipment, the Europeans have a vast variety of often incompatible weapon systems. So if America was to reduce its role, financing and equipment would both be problems for NATO.
But the biggest risk is Donald Trump's continuous questioning of NATO's mutual defense clause. By making a distinction between allies that he is ready to defend and allies that he is not ready to defend, Trump undermines the unconditional nature of the alliance's solidarity. Experts tell us that if that continues, Russia might consider NATO is no longer a functioning alliance and start to challenge it directly.
This is the worst-case scenario for many in Europe who fear that if Ukraine falls, NATO countries in Eastern Europe could be next. But would the new US administration really let that happen?
Europe at war is bad for business. So before you can actually shift your resources away from Europe, you need this to be stable, there needs to be peace.
So Europe's best hope is that instead of disengaging from the continent, the new US administration might feel it needs to fix the security situation there first, before it can focus on the bigger challenge in Trump's mind, which is Asia and China in particular.